So there was a recent announcement, I think last year actually at the Google conference, they were releasing a product called Search Max.
Yeah.
Now, there really wasn't much talk about it until this week when Google's released the new product called AI Max, which I presume has been the rebranding of what this product is.
It is.
Now,
Jenny did confirm that, yes.
beautiful. So what we're going to talk about today is looking at Ginny Marvin from Google. She's the Google Liaisons post about it, which is a summary of it. And we'll also look at the Google blog page about it. And we'll give a bit of a critical thinking about it, the opportunities and the downsides of it. Yes. What are your thoughts, Cory?
Let's go. Yeah, I got a couple of thoughts on it.
So I'll bring it up. What should we go over first? The LinkedIn post or the blog post from Google?
I think let's set the table. Let's paint the context. What are we talking about? Let's start with the post. I think it gives a good high level.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, I'll bring that up right now. Make sure it's the right screen. There we go. Okay. So, introducing AI Max for search campaigns, a new one-click toggle setting for search campaigns that enables AI-powered targeting and creative solutions aimed at capturing more demand and driving more conversions/conversion value. We start there, Cory.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Okay.
Thoughts
Anytime it says one click, I'm like, oosh, oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
So one click. Is it less control? That's my initial thoughts. Of course, I know where this is going, but let's continue.
So here are the key features of the AI Max feature suite. Number one, search term matching. This enables broad match in the backend plus keywordless matching that uses signals from your keywords, assets, and landing pages to find more high-performing queries and conversion. Keyword prioritization rules still apply.
Yeah, so it's dynamic search ads upgraded apparently. Yep. Now, one thing that was confusing that people called out in the comments is backend plus keywordless matching that uses signals from your keywords. Keywordless using keywords. So that's maybe not the best way that they should have put it down there, but essentially they're just saying they're going to use the content on the landing page, the keywords on your landing page to match, just like dynamic search ads.
Which is kind of interesting because then it just comes back to now we're just going to have to focus more on the SEO aspect of the pages to ensure that they're keyword rich and the quality scores are high. But then you may not see quality scores because there's no keywords to match them to.
Mm. Well, and initially one of my biggest concerns is if I have a product page and there's a lot of similar to products, which is a pretty normal feature. Is it going to start accidentally matching to those keywords that show up in related products? Because then that's going to be a problem for relevancy.
Yeah, I suppose do they do the typical hierarchy of H1s, H2s, meta titles, meta descriptions, those types of things to do it? Or is it just like a whatever's on the page where you spray and pray? If it's got the keyword dog in it and you're selling, I don't know, a car and it's like it's dog friendly, to start showing ads about dogs.
Yeah.
You never know. Text customization, number two, text customization, FKA, automatically created assets. Dynamically adapt your text asset headlines and descriptions based on your landing page ads and keywords to be more relevant to the query. Mm-hmm. So they're just basically saying we'll write ads based on whatever keywords come up on the page. So, and that could be the issue that you've just mentioned, Cory, which is you've got a similar product or it has a word of some feature or benefit that has to it, and then they're writing ads about things that have nothing to do with your business.
Yeah. You know, guys, if you want to test run this without test running it, go into your existing responsive search ads and just go into it, just go to edit one. You're not actually going to do it. And use the little thing that says, use AI to generate headlines and see how good those things are. Now, you might be like, oh, these are okay, but you're also going to find something you're going to be like, this is horrible. It's just generic and super vague. It's like the web, just like the brand name plus like, buy now or something. Just, not usually.
It's just like if you gave it to a junior who English is their second language. It's just like, it's very like non-coherent and just, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Let's keep going, my brother. So this is the one that always kills me, by the way, especially if you're running to landing pages or if you've got products categories. URL Final URL expansion with
Expansion.
exclusion controls. Not that
Yes.
helps. Final URL expansion helps find more relevant landing pages based on the user's search query and intent, and customize an ad headline to match the landing page content. Just as in PMAX, you can exclude URLs from expansion.
Yeah.
I've always hated this.
It's a
Straight up.
performance max feature. They're using it here for
Yeah.
search. Mm-hmm.
So instead of going to one page and trying to scrape the keywords off that because of, they might be limited, let's go to every page and just see if there's more irrelevant terms. And this is the thing that I think it comes down here, and we'll talk about it, is just like the search term report, like the actual transparency about it, because we saw with PMAX how long it took to even give any sort of search term reporting, which is still very primitive. And you've seen what happens with Google with the standard search campaigns now, with them reducing the amount of search terms you see. I have very extremely low confidence that this is going to give the same, if not more, search terms. Basically saying, I don't think the search term, they're not going to show the search terms, because once again, it's going to be like PMAX, but like a beta version of PMAX for search. People are going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars on clicks that they have no transparency on. And because they might be one click here, one click here, there, that are just random search terms that are probably irrelevant, Google will mask it. And then there's just a lot of money being sucked by the Google vacuum again.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an argument for people who want to say this is like just another money grab from Google. That say, hey, look, I mean, I want to see the relevancy of the search terms, and if it says that it uses AI to provide greater privacy safe visibility into search terms. Now that's the value track URL parameter. So is that the not going to be the actual search term? It's sort of like a correlated grouping of words, but it's not is it like the search categories thing that we see in Performance Max? Is that what it's going to be? Or is it going to be the actual search that someone searched that triggered your ad? That's one of my bigger questions.
As you were saying all that, I reckon the reality of it is this. If you're trying to give people something that gives them Google more control, you've got to give people more transparency. If you want more control, you've got to give more transparency. If you want to give people less, like Google, less control and it's more manual, yeah, I get it, like the manual stuff. I get that. But if you're asking Google just be like, just give us your money and we'll give you minimal or low transparency, I don't think that's acceptable. When it says the new value track URL parameter, value track, what does this even mean? That uses AI to provide.
If it's like a search category and not a search term, or it's just a search term, that means that you can add it as a UTM parameter, so you can track that in external analytics properties.
Yeah, because I'm like, as I'm getting on with my advertising now, I think probably one of the most important thing, especially for lead generation, is UTMs. It's probably the most important thing in the last. It's always been important, but for me personally, with like the data being so split across so many placements, for clients that I work with, the UTM data for our reporting is so vital that when I see this, I'm like, hey, what are they saying? Is this a new value track? It says new, but then when it says privacy safe, I'm like,
Right.
Is that them now taking something away, giving you something, but taking something more valuable away?
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. Is it like a search term proxy, but it's not the actual search term? That's like one of the biggest questions I'm going to have with all of this. Yeah.
But just to ask you right now, but when you use UTMs, it doesn't push the search term through, it pushes the keyword through.
You get the keyword.
Yeah, but you don't get the search term.
No.
Yeah, cool. That's what I thought.
If we're wrong, we'll edit this section out.
No, it's correct, because you and I have been using that same URL script, and it only pushes through the keyword, not the search term. So this is my favorite part, Cory. This is my favorite part. Okay. Well, we'll go through this, sorry, and then I'll go through my favorite part. Okay, so location controls at an ad group level to reach users based on the geographic intent. So similar to Facebook, now you can target, it seems like you'll be able to target different locations on an ad group level, not a campaign level. That's what I've got from it when I read the article as well.
Yeah.
Brand inclusions and exclusions at both the campaign and ad group level. Cool. Like, I know that's important. Like, you want to exclude brands so it doesn't get pulled in there. But then, yep, we talked about that. Search term report will show the dynamic headlines and URL from AI Max. Interesting.
Yeah.
But will it show the search terms? Or is this something that they're going to push in to push the
question.
search terms away, putting more in there to distract us?
That's the question. Yeah.
And then the next one is asset reports will soon show more metrics such as cost and conversion. So soon showed. So that's probably not going to come out for a long time. Similar to PMax, how they didn't release a lot of that data until recently.
Yeah, and I wonder what's the next iteration of this. Kind of like when Performance Max launched, and there was a lot of maybe obvious issues by some advertisers. You know, where do you see this going? Maybe in like the next year or two. What do you think the next iteration is, or do you see this as so useless that it's going to be sunset rather quickly?
Are you asking me the question? Or is that just
Yeah.
like
No. Yeah, I'm
okay?
asking
So
you. What do you think?
I think the benefit, this is just like a meta concept,
Yeah.
is the benefit at the end of the day with Google Ads is they know they need to always have a manual approach for those really, really, really big enterprise companies spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year who have like really stringent legal requirements around keywords, search terms, and products. So they like you're needing like having search term reports, having a manual shopping, and having a manual search. Search.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's always going to be a part there. It's just that if Google gives priority of this over the standard search at the moment, similar how it does with PMax over the standard shopping,
Mm-hmm.
I see absolutely no value in this.
Okay.
I don't see value. Now, if Google Ads' audiences targeting and tracking and all of that stuff was as powerful as Facebook's ads is, I'd be like, wow. But ever since I've been using Google Ads, these audiences and things have just never been at the same level as Facebook. So if they could get their technology to the same level as Facebook with all these AI targeting, I think there'd be something here. But it's not there. And it hasn't been there. And it hasn't been even there for the last 5 years. So it's like, are they even making the effort or are they just trying to do another cash grab? I don't think they're actually making the product better. They're just trying to create another product that they can put in average placements, remove the control over people, and just charge more. So then they can get that constant 20% incremental increase in cost per click every year.
Mm.
Thoughts?
I did find it interesting. It just makes me kind of curious. Location controls at the ad group level. That's so Microsoft ads like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Are we going to start turning things from Microsoft ads into Google ads? Usually it goes only one way. Google
Yeah.
ads to Microsoft. Now they're taking some of the Microsoft stuff. Just interesting. So I wonder if we're going to get some more stuff there. I'd love to get moving averages native in the UI. But anyway, that's my own nerdy stuff.
It seems like cool, but it's never had that. So why now? Like, it doesn't matter. It's almost like people kind of like, it's not like it was a feature, then it was taken away and then it's given back. It's just like, okay, cool. But like, is that a fact just to make people's location targeting, instead of having one location targeting for a campaign that you control for like 10 ad groups, now you've got 10 ad groups, so you can make one mistake in one and then it blows out to target the whole country instead of your geographic location? Is this like another one of those conspiracies that you've got to manage 10 instead of one, and then those 10 you can make one mistake and it blows it out?
Yeah.
That's how I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would. It is eligible to be used with experiments. The thing that's inside the Google Ads platform. You can use other tools as well, but like through the API. But you can test this with experiments. So that might be, if this is something you just want to. This is something I might test as well. Is just to test: is there any incremental lift? As long as you know how to actually do that. Are we actually seeing incremental? Just similar to Performance Max, right? We've nailed everything down. We've scaled to the point where we feel like there's a search saturation. We've got everything as targeted as we can. We don't expect the landscape of our market to shift dramatically over the next 12 months. Should we maybe give Performance Max a shot is to see if we can get a brand lift or some incremental gains? Let's try it. Let's see if it can use that additional inventory it wants to promote so badly to get those incremental conversions. This is just that on search, which is interesting because Performance Max already has search baked in if you if you set it up that way, the default settings.
Like a fool.
Like a
Okay,
fool.
so this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. I love when Google gives their results in testing. Okay, in many months of testing, how many months? Overall, we've seen that activating AI Max in search campaigns typically, okay, that's an interesting word, drives 14% more conversions. What's a conversion? Is a page viewer conversion? Is an add to cart a conversion? Or conversion value. Okay, interesting. But is that actual conversion value of a return on ad spend dollar, or is it that you associated $100 to a page click and then that pushed up the value there?
Yeah, is it brand versus non-brand? Does it include the search partners network?
Yeah.
Is it all
But
broad
conversion
matched?
value,
What are
is
the
that
match
actual
types?
money in your bank accounts, or is it just that you've associated a value to a conversion?
Yeah.
That does not mean money.
And for campaigns mostly using exact and phrase, but is that 51%? I mean,
Yes.
if we're gonna put case studies out there, I think
Yeah.
we need specifics. This is an
And this is
experimental
a
driven
multi-billion
market.
dollar cash grab from Google. So
Yeah.
we'd think that at the end of the day, um, they'd probably be masking some things because they know what's going to happen. The
Mm.
uplift is typically 27% at a similar CPA or ROAS.
Mm.
Okay, so the things I ask, and everyone watching this should always ask, is number one, what is, like, in terms of the data, number one, is it brand or non-brand? Got to have that very clear. Number two, what is the sample size of the data? How many? So that could be the data size. Was it like, $2 spent, $100 million spent?
Right.
How many clicks was it across? How many conversions was it across? The date range. It said many months. Is that 2 months? Is that 1 year?
Many.
Did they literally run it for a certain amount of time and just chop out a certain amount of data that was like more beneficial to tell this narrative?
Yeah.
The industry. What industries were this run across? Was it fashion? Was it industrial? Was it a mix of everything? We don't know the typical industries.
Yep.
And I just think, like, yeah, once again, there's no benchmark of how many conversions or how much conversion value this was measured across,
Yep.
how it was conducted, brand versus non-brand, date range, industry, who was conducting the test, how the test was conducted, what they decided to include or exclude, because I guarantee you there's a lot of data that they would have excluded because it didn't match the narrative. This data is not that impressive, by the way. For something that I know could be like messed with so much, this data is not impressive. Cory, thoughts on how the data would have been sourced, managed, and put together? What are your, like? How do you think about this right now?
I mean, you pretty much read my mind. Those are a lot of the things you need to apply in terms of critical thinking around any kind of case study or any kind of results driven content, right? And like, what are we really talking about here? I think one of my biggest questions is, like you had mentioned, what's the size of what's the average spend size on a monthly basis for the accounts that were analyzed? What's the data velocity behind those things? Are we talking, like you said, is this more conversions? Is that like, we're talking like 12 more conversions, like we're talking 14% more on average? I mean, averages are really, really deceiving,
Yes.
So it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm always cautious when I see these things. Obviously, they're only going to put the best numbers forward. If they ran 3 tests and one showed 14% more conversions, the other ones only showed 7, they're not going to show you that stuff. So it's just, I don't know.
But it could be that one
Too
account, for
pessimistic.
example, they had, it's probably, let's just say they have 5 accounts, and one account is not running brand, and then they put Search Max on, and then their conversions go up by 100%. Now these other 4 accounts can underperform and do nothing, and it'll go from 100%, 80%, 60%, 40%, 20%. Like, you could literally have one account that had never had brand traffic. You're getting 100% more like conversions for a certain period of time, and then you could have 4 other accounts that have had done this, and it brings it down to 20%. That's not even 14%.
Right.
Like, do it again. Man, this is
Yep.
chaos. This is, as I'm saying this out right now, I'm like, I'm just going to say this. I think this is bullshit. Just saying it. I'm a simple folk, but
Well, good news is they're not replacing. This isn't going to right now outright replace
yeah,
existing search campaigns. So Jenny did make that clear. It's again, it's a they're rolling it out globally, but it is not a replacement for existing search campaigns. We don't all need to freak out overnight. This is just something, if you want to try it, it's optional. You can do it.
yeah.
It's a question of, will this be the only thing you have eventually? And should we start getting on board now to kind of try it out and figure out where the levers are? Or do
Yeah.
we sacrifice so much transparency and control that it's not going to be worth it till it gets better? I think that's going to be a big question for a lot of advertisers.
I don't think there's any value in this. I think there's genuinely no value in this. I see there's nothing in here that gets me excited where I'm like, fuck, it's worth sacrificing transparency for this. None of these features are good. I don't think people really get it. It's like the way you get better results with Google Ads is control and transparency, not AI. Like people just think like the buzzword AI is going to fix everything, like it's some sort of panacea, like magic pill, gold, like silver bullet. Like it's such, because there's a cultural hypnosis and narrative at the moment. AI. It's going to replace jobs. It's going to do this. It's going to be superior. It's like, show me with advertising where AI is outperforming someone who uses critical thinking, who also has like transparency and control over enough accounts over a long enough time horizon. Yes, there will be outliers. Yes, it's important, but just the data that you and I, Cory, create for our clients, which not is it could be AI or it could just be like how we do it. That's more powerful than Google. You can't just trust this system that claims to have all the data in the world, because if it has all the data in the world, it kind of has like no data, because then everything's put in this like soup of just like chaos. Most accounts do not have conversion tracking set up properly. Even if they do, it's just like there's always settings that are wrong that just kind of muddle the data then. So most of the time it's not targeting the right thing. So it's going for the wrong bullseye, or if there's no bullseye. And then number two, the bullseye it's going for, it's been like there's a fog in front of it because all these weird settings that Google's trying to make you do to claim to have more market share, but it's not actually aligned with results. So that's data that's influencing the outcome. And now it's all this AI stuff. It's like Google should just literally say, here's how you actually set up your account properly in terms of conversion tracking, and then let the AI learn from you running it. But it's just like, no, just like press this one button now and just trust a machine. It's just like, don't think for yourself. Just like, it's almost like just trust the government. Never critically think. Never question anything. Like the Google guide is always correct. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they just keep using the word AI. AI. It's like,
it's
bro,
the buzzword of the last 2 years, right?
But because it makes people feel like they're missing out. If someone hears the word AI with what we're doing and then you're not doing that thing, you're like, oh, am I falling behind the AI race? You're not. You're falling behind if you don't use critical thinking. You'll fall behind your whole life if you don't use critical thinking.
Yeah.
Don't trust the AI, please. It's crazy.
Yeah. Look, I mean, these types of things do better. So we're talking about predictive models. They're going to work better. They're an iterative process. They're not going to work. You don't expect them. If you actually build these things and you're in the code, you're not going to expect it to be perfect right away. You're going to tinker with things and settings. You're going to say, okay, move this up a little bit, move this down a little bit. And even then, you still want to be constantly teaching it, this is right, this is not right, this is relevant, this is not relevant. It's a kind of forever thing. At a certain point, you get a certain level of accuracy where it still requires maintenance, but we don't get that with Google Ads AI. We just don't get that. It's we give it inputs and it kind of decides based on the auctions and everything else how it wants to adapt to that. But it obviously has some self-learning in that, but we don't get to get into the depths of it because it's not our proprietary code and say, you know what, these levels are way too aggressive for this brand. We just don't get that. They give us little things like bidding strategy and seasonality adjustments, which are helpful, and it's better than having nothing. But I think additional controls is what most people, when they see this, especially more experienced and veteran advertisers, go, okay, but where's the control? Where's the transparency? Because okay, cool, you have this awesome tech and you have tons of signal data, and I want to use that, and I want to get advertisers behind that. But in order for me to trust that, I need more of those levers to pull, because I want to be able to direct it. So you give us the power, but we want to make sure we can steer. That's really important, and it's always a concern with these types of things.
Yeah, and most of the engineers don't know how this works now. Like, it's its own life form that's being feeding off data, but garbage in, garbage out. Most accounts that I see, most accounts are small accounts that don't know how to do basic tracking. So, like, if that's the data feeding into Google, being like, look at all these conversion signals, it's not a conversion signal of an outcome being a lead, a high intent lead, or an actual sale. It's just conversion signals of just like random crap. And then that's feeding this like mega beast. The signals and all this, I know Google has probably the most data in the world, maybe Facebook, because like most people do visit these websites, unless some other websites like really scrape some stuff. But for some reason, it just doesn't feel like it's activating its power. And I feel like the reason why it's not is because if it actually gives away its power, then people would get better results for less money. It's simple as that. Like, they wouldn't need to spend as much money to get results. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wrap it up. We good?
We're good, man.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're not on board with it. I'm going to test it, see if there's anything incrementality wise that seems worth it. I love that when we were showing this, the amount of engagement is 666. Is that just
dude? That's what I was thinking.
It's just hilarious.
It's fine. Yeah. So we're not going to go over the article. The article's much less. It's just the same crap.
Most of the same thing. Yeah.
Any interesting comments?
I touched on a couple in there. I mean, there's a lot of comments on there as well. Some things that are yet to be answered.
Yeah.
It's like Google Ads commenting on their own thing.
Cool. So anyone who is watching this, give us your thoughts and feedback. Like, if you've used these technologies from Google and you see really, like, you actually measure the data across enough campaigns, you can clearly show that data's come from brand or non-brand, the sample size for your own data, how many clicks, how many conversions, what the incremental like increase over that time period was, the industry and the date range. Would love to know. I want to be proven wrong. Prove me wrong, please. I'm begging you. But there's insufficient data to suggest it. And more importantly, there's insufficient outcomes. Like, I'm not always looking for a cause to an effect, but there's just no effect anymore. Like, there's no outcome. There's people getting caught up in the hype and the process, but the outcome is just not there. So just want to leave it there. If you got any data and you can actually show it, please show me, prove me wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. Please prove me wrong.
Awesome. All right.
Nice.
Let's move forward.